All right, students. So let us continue our discussion with the data types in this session. So in the previous session, we talked about the format in string, positional arguments, right? We talked about left-right adjustments, the character width, leading zeros. We talked about the relationship between format and left strings. We got started with Boolean, true, false, right? And also we talked something about sequences. In particular, we had a introduction to list and tuple, right? So today let us discuss dictionary, which is another sequence type. So before we see an example for this particular data type dictionary, right? Any doubts so far in understanding the basic concepts with respect to lists, tuple, etc. In fact, we'll be talking more about lists and tuple and the various other operations that you can do on these types. Later, we have a dedicated unit for lists, tuples, and dictionaries, but this is just a introduction with respect to understanding the different types that are available and that you can make use of.
Sir,
Yeah, can you be a little louder?
sir, this is Maliha. So this is my first class in the theory.
I am not able to hear you. Who is this?
Sir, Maliha.
No, you are not audible. Check your volume.
Hello.
Yeah, hello.
Yes, sir. So this is my first class in the theory. I'm a new
This is your
joinee.
first class.
Yes, sir. I just joined yesterday for lab, but not theory actually. I'm actually a new joinee.
All right. So let me tell you, we are already around 9 to 10 classes over. You need to pick up and you need to understand the basics. See, all the introduction videos have been posted in the LMS. So go through all the topics that has been taught so far. Go through the videos, right, and try to understand and try to pick up and please come back again with any issues or doubts if you have.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Okay, sir.
Hope you would have been given access to the LMS.
Yes, sir.
So you have access to the LMS, right?
Yes, sir.
So from the LMS under my course, you can see all the instructions, what you're supposed to do with respect to lab. Do you belong to first batch or second batch with respect to lab?
Second batch. So second batch.
Yeah. So second batch, please adhere to the instructions given by your course instructor. And with respect to theory, entire instructions are posted as well as the videos for each of the sessions. So please go through that. And if you have any doubts, please get back to me anytime.
Yes, yes, I will.
Yeah. Okay, guys. So let's continue with our discussion. Students, so far, any doubts with respect to understanding of the previous sessions, like lists, tuples, f-string format, all good? Okay, so assuming that you don't have any particular doubts, right? So let me continue with the next type, dictionary. Guys, dictionary is another type in Python, right? Which essentially is a sequence of key value pairs, right? Think of dictionary just like your real dictionary where you can find meanings of your words, right? So similar to that, dictionary is a type, right? Essentially a sequence type or a collection type wherein you can have items in the form of key and value separated by a colon as a delimiter, as we will see an example. Okay, and also the key and value, just like in lists and tuples, right, both can be either homogeneous and or heterogeneous. All right, and dictionaries are mutable, right? So of the three, lists, tuples, and dictionary, right, lists and dictionaries both are mutable, whereas tuple is immutable. Now let us see an example, right, to how to construct a dictionary in Python. All right, so here in this particular program, I have a variable x, and to create a dictionary, right, within curly braces, opening curly braces and closing curly braces, you specify your key value pairs, right? Now, as I've said, your key can be any type, your value can be any type, right? So let us create a small dictionary with, say, the marks for students, right? Say the first entry is the key, right? Say student S1, right? Identified by the string S1, okay? Followed by colon and followed by some marks, right? Say for 100 he has got 67, right? And then you specify your second value. All right, so this is how you construct a dictionary. Okay, so here you have a comma. So you have a comma here for the second item also, right? Now, to get the elements from the dictionary, again, dictionary is mutable, so you can access the elements, right, using this operator, right? Now, before that, let us print the items in the dictionary using the print statement, right? So if I say print x, right, you see the items in the dictionary, right? All the items in the dictionary as is, including the curly braces. Okay. Now also, you can probably iterate over the elements in the dictionary, right, using a for loop. We will understand more about loops. Again, there is a dedicated unit for loops. We will understand more on loops later. But now, since you know the basic understanding of the while loop and the for loop, you can also make use of a for loop to iterate over the elements within a dictionary. So for I in X, if you say, and if you say print X, let us see what happens. Right? So you are printing 1, 2, 3 times, right? You are printing the entire elements 3 times, right? If you want to print the individual elements, you say I, and what do you think will be the output, guys, now? Unlike the same kind of syntax wherein we have seen for lists and tuple, now with respect to a dictionary, if you print each element, right, what do you think will be the output? Any guess?
1, 2,
Only the values, sir.
Only the values or only the keys?
Keys.
And this
keys.
What do you get?
keys, only the keys.
You get only the keys, right? Now, if you also want the values, right, what can you do? Unlike in lists and tuple, wherein you used enumerate, if you use enumerate here, which is a global built-in function, what do you think the output will be? If I say enumerate I comma m, just like in list that we have done, right? If I say I comma m, all right. So I'm trying to enumerate the dictionary. What do you think the answer will be? Any guess? You get the enumerated values, you get the index position as well, right? If you want from 1, right, you can do it this way, right? So enumerate, you can enumerate the dictionary also, but what if you want the values as well? So enumerate does not give you the values. If you want the values as well, you can make use of a method that is available as a part of dictionary, right, called as items, right? You can say x dot, yeah, there's a method called as items, right? So x dot items, right? If you do that, and if you print this again, right, you can see the values as well, right? So this is a brief introduction to dictionaries, guys, right? And yes, as I have already said, dictionaries are mutable as well. It's a mutable sequence, right? So you can change the values of a dictionary, right? So for example, if I want the marks of student S1, right, we say updated to 90, right? Now if you run the program, right, now S1 is 90, right? So dictionaries are mutable. All right, guys. So though that is dictionaries in Python. Understood?
Yes, sir.
All right. Okay. Now that we have, yeah.
Sir, I
Somebody,
have a doubt actually.
please.
What if the first statement is just a dictionary and then you give a print, sir, without the for loop? What would be the output?
That's what we have seen, right? So here in this particular example, we did not make use of a for loop. Say
Yes.
if you comment this out and if you uncomment this and if you uncomment this,
Yes, sir.
right, it will print the dictionary as is, right, including the values, but you will have this curly braces as well.
Oh, okay, sir.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any other doubts, guys, with respect to dictionaries? We'll understand more on dictionaries later in a separate unit. But this is just a kind of getting started so that we cover all the types in Python. And one more thing, for your examination point of view, in Unit 2, if you look into the syllabus, right, you do have introduction to list, but tuple and dictionary is not directly a part of Unit 2.
Sir, how to append the dictionary?
How to append to a dictionary?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you can add a value. Say, for example, let me do this. Say I add student 4 with 92, right? You get 4 as well. Clear?
Yes, sir.
All right. Okay, so that's an introduction to dictionary. All right, now there is another sequence that is supported in Python, which is the use of a built-in function called as range, right? You would have probably used this particular function in your lab programs already, right? So range, right? Do you want discussion once again, or range all of you know better?
No, sir, we need a discussion, sir.
Okay, so range is another function, guys. So range is another function which is inbuilt, right? And that is used to give you a sequence back, right? Now, when you get a sequence back from this particular function range, right, you can pass in maximum 3 parameters, right? You can pass in one parameter or argument which specifies your end value. If you pass in 2 arguments, right, the first parameter is your start value and your second argument is your end value. And if you pass 3 arguments, right, the first is start value, second is end value, and the third is step value. All right, so let us see an example. Say, if I say for I in range, right, you can either specify one value. If I just pass one value, right, that is your end value, right? And if I print I, right, what do you think the answer will be? It will be from 0 till the last element, but not including the last element. Okay, so it will be from 0 to 9. If you pass in 2 values, it will be from 10, right, till 20, but not including 20, right? So it will be from 10 to 19. All right, and you can optionally pass one more argument, which is a step count, right? So it will be in steps of 2, starting from 10. All right, so if you see, it is 10, 12, 14, 16, and 18. All the even numbers between 10 and 20. So that is range. And one more point, right? Range is immutable. Okay, so the range function is immutable. You cannot change the values. Right? Now, if you want to change the values, what can you do? You can typecast it to a list. Okay, so for example, let me put this in a variable. Say if I say if I take this out and put it in a variable, all right, and if I say, okay, before I try to mutate the range, right, let me check if I can do this for I in X, print I, right, and for simplicity, say I don't have a step count, right, and say I print till 15, essentially from 10 to 14, right? So I expect the output to be 10 to 14, right? Now the point here is range is immutable, right? Now if I try to change a value, say for example, the first value is say 10. If I explicitly say x of 0 is equal to say 20, right? Or say 12, whatever, right? And if I try to run this program, it says range object does not support item assignment. So range is immutable. All right. And if you want to mutate the range, right, what you can do is you can typecast it to a list, right? So what you can do here is either here or here. If I say list, range, and if I comment this, now it will start from 12, right? 12 and then 11, 12, 13, 14.
Sir, so range returns a tuple, sir.
Pardon?
So range returns a tuple. Is that correct?
Range returns a sequence of all the types. So if you want to see the return type of range, right, I don't think range returns a tuple. Let us see. So if I say type range, right, it is class type, but the return type of range, let us check it out.
I'm asking that question because you said it was immutable. That's why, sir.
Yeah, it is immutable.
Sir, can we have alphabets also, sir, inside range?
Can you have alphabets inside range means? I did not get you. You mean, see, 1 second. Coming to the return type, if you print the range, it gives you range 10, 15. It gives you the syntax this way, right? So you cannot exactly say that the return type is a tuple.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. And coming to your question, alphabets, if I say, for example, say A to Z.
Comma Z. That's what.
Okay. But both A and Z, they are considered as variables, right? Right. So do you mean this A and Z as variables or string A and Z?
Just strings.
If they are just strings A and Z, right? And if you print the range, right? It says string object cannot be interpreted as an integer, right? So what is expected here is a integer.
Oh. What if we do typecasting here, sir?
You can do a typecasting, you can represent the ASCII value of A, do all sorts of things, but what is actually expected here is a range number between this and between that.
Okay, sir.
Yeah?
Okay, sir.
Yeah. So that is range, guys. So range, it is immutable. If you want to mutate the range, right, you can do a typecasting, right? You can convert it to a list. All right. So that is range, guys. Any doubts on this so far? This is just an introduction. We'll see much more examples, and we'll try to understand these particular types in detail later. For now, as an introductory session, is it okay?
Yes, sir. Sir, can you give me an example for tuple or tuple or whatever it is?
Yeah, tuple is again something that is immutable. So it is represented in this particular manner, right? And it can be heterogeneous items, right? And one more thing, you can have nested sequences within a sequence, right? So within a tuple, you can have a list, right? You can have another tuple, so on and so forth. Okay, so this is a tuple, right? See, this is a tuple. This by itself is immutable, right? But a tuple contains, you are having a mutable list, right? So all these are possible. So this is a tuple. Now if I print all the elements, right, or rather if I do a for loop for I in X, print, okay, I have not specified I. Here, this is a heterogeneous tuple and everything has been printed here. Okay, now this is a tuple, and if you want to say update an element or change an element, say the first element, I want to change it to 40, right? You cannot do that. Tuple object does not support item assignment. So that is a tuple, right?
Sir, thank you, sir.
Yeah, now guys, can anybody tell me what if I try to do this? This is like 0, 1, 2, 3.
Sir, we can change it because probably it's a list, so it will be changed.
Yeah, it does. It still says tuple does not support item assignment, right? So the fourth assignment is a list, right? It does not support item assignment, although it is a list inside.
Because it is under a tuple condition, it won't support. That is what it is?
Yeah, because the entire thing is a tuple, and tuples are immutable.
Okay, okay.
Okay, now, now guess what? Now if I say, what do you think this will do? See the change. So see, yeah, as a tuple, it is immutable, but since this item is itself a list, if you try to access the inner item individually, right, lists are mutable, so you can mutate this in this manner. Whereas if you do this, say, what do you think will happen?
Error.
Error. Or 1 will be changed to 40.
1 will be changed to 40.
The last one will be changed to 40. Are you sure? Why do you think so?
It's a tuple.
No, sir.
Error, sir. It's a tuple.
Because this item itself is a tuple. The inner item itself is a tuple. Okay?
Sir,
Yeah.
can we have a Y list before X and then just mentioning Y in X, sir.
I did not get you. Can you have?
Y list before X list, X tuple, and can we mention Y in place of any item, sir?
I did not still get you. Your line number? Are you talking about this program?
So leave it, sir. I'll try.
Okay.
Sir,
Yes.
can we try this putting list and tuples in this one, sir? List. We tried in tuple now, sir. Can we put in list?
Yeah, yeah, you can have. You can have a tuple within a list and vice versa. You can have dictionaries also. All those nested possibilities are possible.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Okay, guys. So that is something about lists, tuple, dictionaries, and range, right? Now let us talk something about introspection, or sometimes called as inspection, right? Or class inspection or class introspection, right? Using some functions and operators that are available, right? So let us start with some of the functions and the operators, right? Okay. Say for example, if I have x is equal to, say x is a tuple with say 2 elements 10 and 20, right? So we already have seen that there is a built-in function called as type, right? So what is the type of x, guys? What is the type of x?
Teacher.
Integer.
Is it?
Tuple.
Yeah, x is a tuple, right? So x is a tuple, right? Now if I do this,
List.
A list.
it's a list. Okay. Now this is one function that you can make use of, right? To know the type. All right. Now apart from type, there is also something called as ID, which gives you the identifier, object identifier. Now say for example, let me try to demonstrate that. Say let me have another tuple which is 10, 20. All right. Now if I do this and if I copy this and paste it in the second line and print the type of y, right? What do you think? It is both tuple, right? Now instead of type x and y, if I say ID, I think ID, the syntax should be a subscript. Yes, ID is okay. Okay. See, you get two identifiers which are exactly the same, right? So ID gives you the object identifier, right? X is an object, Y is an object. The identifier for X is identified with this particular number, right? Identifier for Y is identified with this particular number, right? Think of something like a unique address in C, right? So that is your ID operator. Now, guys, can you tell me if I change this element to a list, right? Now I have X and Y. Still, both the elements are the same, 10 and 20 here, again 10 and 20 here, but 20 is in a list here. 20 is by itself here in X, right? Now, if I print the ID of X and Y, whether both will be the same or both will be different.
Different, sir.
Different, sir.
Okay, so both are different. Why both are different?
The data
The
types are
second-
different, sir.
Yeah, because although it is a tuple, this particular tuple has got a item, although whose value is the same, right? The item itself can be modified, right? Hence, the Python assigns a different identifier to this particular object. All right. Now, if I turn this back to the normal thing, right? And say, for example, if I want to access a particular element, right? So if I get the first element, which is 10, I am getting essentially the first element of both x and y. So let me get the first element of y now in this fashion, right? What do you think the ID of this and this will be? Whether it will be the same or different? I'm essentially getting the ID of 10 in x and ID of 10 in y.
Sir, same, sir.
Yes, it is going to be the same, right? The Python need not assign different objects to these two because the values both are same, right? So it assigns or creates a single object. So the ID is going to be the same, right? Okay, so you cannot use this notation, right? So the notation is parenthesis again. I'm sorry for that. So the syntax is, one second, should be, I think it should be in this manner only. I just need to confirm, 1 second.
Sir, x of 0 and y of 0, right, sir?
It should be x of 0 and y of 0, correct. Correct. Thanks for that. So it is x of 0 and y of 0. Okay, if you say x of 0 and y of 0, what do you think will be printed? The ID is not going to be printed. I want the ID now. If you do x of 0 and y of 0, it is going to print the values, right?
ID of x of 0.
ID of x of 0, okay. You mean this way?
Sir, ID of the normal braces and 0 is coming, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Let us see this way also, as somebody said, right? ID of y of 0. Okay. This should make sense as well. So both are the same. Okay, guys. So this is something about ID and type. Type is to get the type of the object, any object, and ID is to get the unique object identifier. All right, both are functions. Now, apart from type and ID, right, you have got is instance also, right? Now you can make use of is instance to actually check the object or type of the object, right? Now you may probably say then, okay, there is type. Why not make use of type for that, right? Now you cannot say something like this. Say if you can say type. If you say type of x, we know the type of x is a tuple, right? So you can't have a condition something like this. Say if type of x is a tuple, right? Say you print tuple, right? Otherwise, you print not a tuple, right? Say for example, let me make this as a list, right? And print this as a list, right? Now, if you do this, right, this is not going to allow you. Intent does not match. Okay, so there is some problem with the indentation part. So is the syntax okay, guys, here?
Yes, sir.
Okay. It is not okay.
The second print, sir.
Okay, it prints list, which should not be the case, right? This is not what you want, correct?
Yes, sir. It should print tuple.
Yeah. So you cannot make use of type x to actually check the type of the object, right? Rather, you can make use of another built-in function, right, called as isInstance, right? You can use isInstance and pass two parameters here, right? The first parameter is your object itself, right? And the second parameter is the class name, right? Here in this case, it is a tuple. There is an issue here as well. Is instance argument 2 must be a tuple, or okay, it is not a string tuple, it is tuple by itself, right? Which is tuple. All right, guys. If I do this as y, it's a list. Okay. Any doubts on this? So you have type to print the type of an object, make use of isInstance to do the type checking, and make use of ID to get the object identifier. So far, so good?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
And apart from these three functions, right, you have got some operators also that you can make use of to do some introspection. Like is not in and not in. Let us do that.
Sir,
Yes.
one doubt, sir. Can you repeat why the IDs are same for that X and Y?
You mean this?
No, sir. Print ID of that one, sir.
ID of x of 0 or x and y?
That both the lines are that those two lines. How the IDs are same, sir?
The IDs are same because Python actually creates the same object for both the values because it is the same.
Or if the values are same, then they will merge, sir.
Yeah, if the IDs are same, that essentially means you have got a single object that essentially holds the same value. You can associate or make use of the same object to get that particular value.
Okay, sir.
Right. See, this is an integer value. This is an integer value. Both the values are the same. Hence, the IDs are the same.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Now, if the value is different, right, it is going to create two different objects. Right. If the value is the same, right, it does not make sense to actually create two different objects because they have the same value, right? Hope that is clear.
Okay, sir. Understood, sir.
Okay.
Sir,
Yes.
but like X is like a different container, Y is like a different container. So why should it have the same object storing?
Correct. Both are different containers, but if both x and y stores 10, say for example x is equal to 10 and y is equal to 10, right? Python need not create two different object IDs because they have the same values. Either you access x or y, right? You have the same value, so it does not create two different objects.
So then when I call X or Y, like when I ask it to print it or something, how will it map to that where it is stored to the location? How will it know both X and Y?
It is going to just look at that particular ID and print the particular value if you map it to the address kind of thing. The same address, but it is going to have the value, same value.
So one thing, sir, I just tried creating a two lists with same values. When I print the ID, those values are different. So I think only tuple, since tuple is immutable.
Exactly,
so
that is what I am saying. I gave you an example earlier also. If it is a tuple, it is going to be the same ID again. If it is a list, it is going to be different IDs. If it is say x is equal to 10, y is equal to 10, two different integers or two same integers without a tuple or a list, right? Again, the ID is going to be same. If it is just this way. Right. So if something
Okay, sir.
that is the same and does not change, right? It doesn't make sense to actually create two different objects to refer to those variables or types.
Yeah, sir. Okay, sir.
Hope that is clear.
Yeah, sir. Thank you.
Sir,
Yes.
sir, I have a doubt, sir.
Yeah.
Why doesn't the output come if you just use if type of x is equal to tuple, sir? Why should we use is instance?
See, because type of x is equal to tuple, because the return type of type is not a string.
Oh, okay, sir.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So the return type is not a string. So type of just gives you the see, when you say type of integer 30, what is the return type? The return type is like this.
Yes, sir.
It is not a string, right? So you cannot say if type of 30 is equal to int. It is not going to match,
Oh, okay, sir.
right?
Yes,
Whereas this instance is a built-in function that has been designed so that you can make use of the function to check for the types.
Oh, okay, sir.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. So let me exit out of REPL, Control D, and go to the next part. So apart from using functions like type, ID, and this instance for class introspection or object introspection, right? You can also make use of operators like is not in and not in, right? Now let us start with is, right? Now, this is an operator, right? That you can make use of to check whether both the objects are the same, right? Say for example, in this particular case, right? If x is y. All right, so you can make use of this operator, and if I change this to some other value, right, you can probably say if x is not y, it's the same, right? So x is not y, right? And if it is still 10, and the else part, if you want to get it executed, is not same. All right, guys. So that is and is not that you can make use of. Any, yeah.
Similar to equal to and not equal to, right?
It is similar, but there is a difference. See, when you say is, you are saying whether the object is equal or not. Okay, whereas equal to, you exactly match for the values.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm not getting it, sir. Can I elaborate it?
See, is means you say whether the object x and y are the same, irrespective of whatever it contains. Whereas equal to, right? It sees the value. Say, for example, you mean this?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So this you are actually checking for the values, right? 10 and 10, right? Whereas this is also going to give you the same result, right? But if you do this, you just say if the IDs are the same, you match with the IDs.
So we are matching with IDs.
Yeah.
Okay, sir. Then.
You match with the IDs and exactly say whether the object this object is same as this object. So it is similar in the sense because both the objects are same because you have the same values. And you explicitly check for the values. If you want to check with the values or for the values, right, you make use of equal to. Right? Similarly, is not can be similarly compared with not equal to as well. All right, guys?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. So that's a very good question. Equal to and is not. Both are similar, but is and is not specifically checks with the object, whereas equal to and not equal to checks with the values directly. All right. Next is in and not in. You can have in and not in, probably you would have used in for loop, right? So in and not in is like, it is a kind of membership test, whether a particular item is available inside a particular container. That is called as in and not in, right? So for example, if I, for illustration, if I make this a list with say 10, 20, 30 and 40, right? I can check for membership, right? Using the, say, I can say if 20 in X, right? Not available, right? So in this case, what do you think the answer will be? This checks for the membership, whether it is available. Okay. So it says available, right? And similarly, you can say not in, right? Not available in this particular case, right? So in and not in, you can make use of, but please remember, guys, the not in you cannot directly make use of in the for loop. That is not going to work, right? Because probably you would have seen this syntax for I in, right? So this operator is okay here for the for loop. What is the problem here? X is not defined. Why X is not defined? Can anybody tell the error? It says
It's in the
name
main
X.
function. It's in the main function. Okay.
Sir,
Indentation.
indentation. Sir.
Indentation, correct. So what you need to do? You need to indent this. What is the problem here?
X before X space is there.
Before X space is there here?
First X, sir.
Or is not indented properly, sir. Still, I guess.
No, the X and 4 are one space apart, I think.
No, since I have only one line, so that should be okay, right? Even I can have it here. It still says unexpected indent. What print I?
Sir, the 4 and X, I think, are indented differently.
Number 2 and line number 8.
The if statement, sir. The down if.
Correct. So line number 2 and line number 8, the indentation is different, right?
Yes, sir.
It should be okay.
No, sir.
One step back.
Still one space. Still one space.
Sir.
So one more space here before for.
In line number 2.
No, sir, you should reduce one space, sir.
Yes, sir.
This should be okay, I think. Let us see.
No,
No, sir. No, sir.
No.
No, sir.
No.
Increase one in line. In
One,
line.
yes, sir. Now it is okay, sir.
Yes. I still. Yes.
Okay, so this is 10, 20, 30, 40. But guys, you cannot say not in here. This will not work in for. Okay, so it is invalid. Not in is invalid in the for loop, the usage, right? But otherwise, in if condition, you can make use of in and not in, right? And if there is a single statement, you can write your block directly in the same line as well. That is also okay, right? And one more thing, see, generally when you create complex or intermediary programs using lists and tuples, etc., including dictionaries, right? Generally, it is a tendency to put a comma after the last element, right? It is also equally correct. It is not an error. It is also equally correct. The idea here is you basically put a comma saying that, okay, this might be probably updated in the future and I may add elements. So it is generally considered as a kind of good practice to put a comma after the last element. You can see in production codes and all, right? Such kind of code is used widely. This is also correct, right? Okay, so that is an introduction to class introspection using functions like type, ID, is instance, is not, and not in. Any doubts? No doubts, guys?
No doubt, sir.
Okay, so let us continue with the next topic, right? Simultaneous assignment, right? In Python, right, you can do simultaneous assignment, right, in this manner. Say, I have, say, A or X, whatever, right? And then say Y is equal to 20, right? So let me comment this for now. So in this line number 2 and line number 3, what you are doing, X is equal to 10 and Y is equal to 20, right? What you can do here is, in simultaneous assignment, you can do this way. This is also correct, 10, 20. This means that the value of X is, or X has 10 and 20 is assigned to Y. All right, so this is called a simultaneous assignment. Now, this kind of assignment is very useful in so many programming aspects, right, that you can make use of, right? For example, in your Fibonacci number and in your GCD Euclidean approach, right, you can make use of this particular approach as well to solve the problems in a much more concise manner, right? Sorry. Now, if you do this, right, you see 10 and 20. Okay. Now, say if I uncomment this and if I do this, what do you think is happening? You are simultaneously doing the assignment, right? Essentially, you are swapping X and Y in the same line, right?
Yes, sir.
Now the value of X is 20 and Y is 10. All right, so this is one very useful technique that is available and supported in Python, simultaneous assignment, that you can use in your programs, right? Try this kind of usage with your programs that you are doing in your lab exercises like Fibonacci, GCD, right? Using the Euclidean approach, GCD, you can make use of this kind of technique as well, perhaps. All right, any doubts with simultaneous assignment? This is simultaneous assignment. Okay. And the next part is variable naming convention, right? So variable naming convention, guys, although you can name the variables in any manner that you like, according to the naming convention and documentation, it is recommended that whenever you name a variable, right, make use of all lowercase. All right, and if you have a variable name which contains multiple words, right, say for example first name, right, delimit the words with a underscore, right? Put it as something like first underscore name, right? So that is the best practice or general convention for naming your variables, right? Number one. Number two, also do not make use of any keywords as variable names. That is not allowed. Say for example, or, and, or something like that. You cannot name a variable name as and or because that's a keyword or reserved word in Python. That is not allowed. All right, guys. So that is all for this particular session, right?